It was 9 p.m. when Bill finally made up his mind and went upstairs to the bedroom. Anna, his magnificent 26-year-old wife, was getting ready to go out with her friends. He wasn't particularly happy when she went out with these women last Friday, but he couldn't and didn't want to accept it as part of a new weekly routine. She saw the expression on his face and asked, "You're not going to complain about this, are you?" He nodded toward the tiny dress laid out on the bed. The sky blue lingerie she was wearing made her look strikingly alluring. "I haven't seen these before," he said. She looked a bit embarrassed. "Well, yes, I bought them just this week," she replied. The bra and panties he was holding were unremarkable, but she seemed happy about it. He pointed to the tiny sky blue bra and thong, which barely concealed her charms. He gazed at her intently, pausing meaningfully. Was this just another nighttime stroll with the girls on the prowl? Maybe you really had arranged to meet someone there, like on a date. She tilted her head as she looked at him incredulously. "No, there's no one else," she said. "How could you even think that?" He ignored her question and chose his words carefully. "When you're out with your friends, you never dance with other men, you never embrace them, kiss them, or allow them to get close to you. How dare you even suggest that?" she asked angrily. "I dare to suggest it because I know more about your friends than you probably realize," he replied. "One's single, two are divorced, and then there's you to complete the set. Do you really expect me to believe that when they're seeking casual encounters, they wouldn't try to bring you down to their levels? How dare you judge them?" she shouted, angry now. "I'm not judging them," he replied calmly. "You are free to make your own choices, as I am." She looked at him suspiciously. "So you're telling me not to go?" "How can you call that a choice?" she asked, exasperated. "I didn't tell you not to go out. I simply made it clear that I consider it inappropriate behavior for a married woman, and that your girlfriends are putting us in situations that will end badly for our marriage." "Are you seriously suggesting that my outings with girlfriends could threaten our marriage?" she scoffed. "Don't be so insecure. I always come home to you. Why are you so worried?" "I'm worried because you're the most beautiful woman I know. You go to clubs with single girls. On top of that, there are excited men and alcohol, which is a surefire way to cause trouble," he continued, raising his hand to prevent her interruption. "Our marriage is already at risk because you think this," he gestured toward her almost nakedness, "is something your husband should just accept without questions. It's too late now. I'll meet them at 10 o'clock, and you're trying to make me late." She went back to her makeup. "You also promised to respect your husband," he said. "It seems like you're okay with ignoring that promise. Or are your friends' feelings more important to you than mine? What's wrong with you? Don't you trust me?" she asked. "I'm just going out for drinks with the girls, that's it. Leave me alone." He sighed deeply. "I want to trust you, but I refuse to sit at home every Friday night wondering if you'll take another step or end up accidentally flirting with some guy." "I would never do that," she replied. "Before you start to believe everything's fine if I never find out," he continued, "you need to think about what this is doing to us. If you want to go dancing, invite me along. If you just want to rub elbows with strangers, be honest, and we can end this right now." "You're just being insulting," she lashed out at him. "No, I'm being honest," he said. "I don't believe you're just a fan of dirty dancing and kisses, looking for illicit affection or a quick fling. I'm willing to believe you haven't cheated with anyone, but that's the choice I'm offering you. Leave or stay. It's up to you. But remember, I have a choice too. If you leave, you can party as much as you want. I won't be here when you come back." So here it was. He had said it. He had given her every opportunity to understand his feelings and hear his desire to mend their marriage. Now she had a choice, him or the clubs. "You're joking, right?" she asked furiously. He'd never seen her like this in the 4 years they'd been together. "If you want to dress like your friends and go out drinking and dancing with them every Friday night, that's fine," he said. "I'm just telling you that the prospect of me sitting at home waiting for you to come back one night is not how I envision my future." He walked toward the door. "I've got a few things to take care of. I'll be downstairs when you've made your decision." She sat in front of the mirror, thinking. She hadn't had sex, but last week, she had felt a strong temptation on the dance floor. A guy had looked at her, and she liked how men looked at her on the dance floor. It made her feel desirable. "Let me know if you'd like the rest of the story." Anna stood frozen on the street, her eyes wide and her breathing shallow as chaos unfolded around her. Donovan's car was a mangled wreck. The sports car that had collided with it was now smoking and silent. People rushed out of nearby houses, phones in hand, dialing for help. The driver of the red car stumbled out, dazed but alive. But Donovan was slumped over the driver's seat, motionless. "Donovan!" Anna screamed, her voice breaking. She rushed to the car, ignoring the glass shards and twisted metal. Paramedics arrived moments later, pulling her back as they worked to extract him from the wreckage. From a distance, Bill stood watching. He hadn't moved, his face devoid of emotion. Anna caught his gaze, her tear-streaked face begging for understanding, for comfort. But all she saw was the cold detachment of a man who had already let her go. As the ambulance pulled away, Anna hesitated, torn between following Donovan and staying to confront Bill. She chose the latter, staggering back toward him. "Bill, please," she pleaded. "This is all a misunderstanding. I never wanted any of this to happen." He didn't flinch. "You made your choices, Anna. I warned you about the consequences. Now you're living them. But Donovan is your problem now," Bill interrupted, his voice steady, devoid of the warmth she once knew. "You wanted freedom, and now you have it. I hope it was worth it." Anna fell to her knees, sobbing. The weight of her decisions, the loss of her husband, and the uncertainty of Donovan's fate crashed over her like a tidal wave. Meanwhile, Bill turned and walked away, his resolve unshaken. He had a flight to catch, a new life waiting for him in Dubai. 6 months later, Bill sat in a cafe overlooking the serene waters of Dubai Creek. The woman across from him laughed at his story about learning to kayak. Her laugh was light and genuine, a stark contrast to the tension and betrayal that had marked his last relationship. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Bill felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. His phone buzzed with a message from a mutual friend back home. "Anna is filing for bankruptcy. Donovan didn't make it. She's been struggling ever since. Thought you'd want to know." Bill read the message, his expression unreadable. He deleted it without replying and turned his attention back to Sophie. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Never better," he replied, raising his glass to freedom, new beginnings, and the wisdom to know when to walk away.